Hello, this is Lori Moroco, and I'm here to give you my 7 to 10 minute presentation on the book Voice Catchers. I want to start with the three things that surprised me most about this book. The first is that voice is a biometric and health data collector. So, for instance, it said that our voice can reveal things like illnesses, mental health distress, pregnancy, or even suicide risks. And that changes in our voice, like breathiness or vocal strain, can carry meaning. And this raises concerns about misinterpretation and emotional harm. And it also concerns me that voice is treated so casually, but that functions as sensitive personal data that can often be misconstrued. The second thing that interested me is that there's a built-in race and gender bias in the voice AI systems, and that it can often misinterpret accents and dialects and speech patterns. And this bias can actually influence customer service treatment and their access to help or support. It's said in the book that people may not even get rerouted to a human being because of their voice or dialect. And I believe that this bias does scale pretty quietly, but it also happens automatically. And that users aren't even aware, and they're not even aware that how they're being affected by it. The third thing that was interesting was the privacy trade-offs for convenience. It said that voice assistants make daily tasks easier, which they do. They can, order things on Amazon. They can book reservations at a restaurant, order my favorite coffee. But that constant listening is really a core feature. It's not an accident. So I used to joke, "Oh, Amazon's listening to us. She's listening." She really is listening. And that was made very clear in this book. So I think it's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually something that is happening, as was said in the book. So users like myself, we often trade this privacy for ease and convenience without full awareness. And I used to say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong or illegal. It can listen to me all it wants to, not realizing the consequences of the listening that it's doing. So this does create a little bit of ethical discomfort and a sense of personal naivete and anxiety for me now, because what are they going to do with my data? Um, and then the second question is the potential impact on my favorite brand. So my favorite brand is the clothing company Free People. And the first part of that is brand trust and values risk. And Free People emphasizes things like individuality and empowerment and authenticity. But this invasive or inferred data that's being collected could actually cause conflict with the brand's identity. And customers like myself may start to feel monitored rather than supported. The second part of that is ethical and reputational concerns. So there is a risk of surveillance pricing or overly predictive targeting. There is a potential misuse of this inferred personal information. In the book, it said that if a shopper puts prenatal vitamins into her Amazon shopping cart, now she's targeted with pregnancy or baby ads. Again, it's unethical because what if I'm shopping for my pregnant friend? Now, all of a sudden, I'm getting bombarded with ads that don't even relate to me. And then I think the last part of that is even the legal practices can feel a little bit unethical to consumers. The third thing is behavioral consequences for consumers. So customers might start to alter their behavior to avoid tracking. So as I was reading the book, I'm thinking, oh, can I throw my voice? Can I use words that it doesn't understand so that it reroutes me to a human? How can I beat the system? I think there's also increased distrust in the personalization tools, and that there really could be a long-term impact on brand loyalty. The third question would be partnering with customers to create ethical contextual experiences. The first part of this question is the transparency and consent as a foundation has to be number one. I think there needs to be a clear explanation of what data they are actually collecting and how they're using it. I think there needs to be explicit opt-in or opt-out for any voice-enabled features. And I think there has to be easy access to human support. An example is that I pay for a subscription to a company that where I can track my expenses and my receipts. There is no access to human support. It's all done by chatbot and by email, and it's incredibly frustrating. It takes days to get an answer. And because of that, I'm probably going to change subscriptions to a different service. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the ethical use case or voluntary styling support. So I think there could be voice-enabled virtual stylist. Again, it should be opt-in only. It can't be assumed. I think customers should be able to describe their mood and their occasion, their comfort preferences, their color preferences for the stylist to use. I think that the system needs to respond to my stated needs, not the inferred vulnerabilities that it's picking up by capturing my voice. And then safeguards to maintain trust. I think that there should be no health or emotional inferences, although I do wonder, could we use that to detect health conditions in us? I think the problem with that is there could be a lot of misdiagnoses and a lot of anxiety for people for false positives or situations like that. I think there should be no resale or external sharing of any voice data of any kind. And I think that the user should be in full control and have opt-out options that are not buried in fine text, that are very obviously available to opt out. In conclusion, I'd like to talk about the ethical reflection. I believe that voice technology is not necessarily inherently unethical. I think it borders on unethical practices. I think that ethical responsibility truly lies in how brands apply it. I think that data should support autonomy and self-expression, not exploitation. And I think that brands that prioritize ethics will ultimately build long-term trust. There should be transparency. If it were my company, I would probably state very clearly on my website that I'm not using voice captured audio. I don't know, maybe be the first company to go against the grain. This book was very, very interesting and enlightening. I realized that by using Amazon or Alexa for convenience is actually making me very, very vulnerable. It's concerning what is going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years as AI continues to grow. It's very concerning. Thank you.